An expose the Times now has been following for as many as 5 days with 8 documents. Now the government's first response coming in as breaking news. Question the whistleblowers, saying that it must be disclosed if these whistleblowers have a conflict of interest. Let's listen in to Law Minister and speaking on behalf of the government, Salman Khurshid.
Let me just come to the issue of whistleblowers. Now, whistleblowers are assumed to be good people. They may not be. They may not be. People who ask for RTI information are not all good people. Some people seek information just in order to run down somebody or to create a problem for somebody. But we have to take the highs and lows. Once you take a decision that we believe on a balance of cost-benefit analysis, it is better to allow transparency than to not allow it. That ends all controversy. Where you make exceptions, depending on need, requirement, circumstances, then those exceptions also are tested by courts of law. There are 2 whistleblowers involved. I believe Mr. Mittal and Mr. Sharma. Now, in both cases, I think it's important that they must declare the conflict of interest. To the extent to which Mr. Sharma was involved in decision making, particularly in the rules that were necessary to be made, and how those rules were stymied so that there couldn't be that kind of accountability in recruitment and in giving people responsibilities. And as far as Mr. Mittal is concerned, the fact is that he's from DRDO and he reverts back, or he's reverted back. Now that's a decision an employer can take and must take. Putting somebody in prison because they are speaking the truth is different from saying, look, whether you are speaking the truth or not the truth, but you are not really fit for this organization, please go back to your parent organization, is something that you can't question a government on unless there is an extreme case of irregularity. That's one thing. So obviously it's not just RTI, it's something that some people have said and have claimed to say it under the protection of being whistleblowers. Now the fundamental thing is the purchase of vehicles. The purchase of UAVs were done by a tender. There were pre-qualification and qualified companies that applied. Only 2 of the number that could have, not everybody supplies UAVs, by the way. The number of companies who finally came in were 2. And out of those 2, 1 was found suitable and acceptable. Now that a tender in which everybody in the world who's qualified applies, 2 companies are shortlisted and 1 company is finally decided. Now they're quickly jumping to a conclusion that somehow you've got a company that is unacceptable or has given a quote or has given a price that is unacceptably high. I think it's little bit wrong. The problems that have arisen, frankly, are not to do with the vehicles. The problems that these people are raising, and the whistleblowers or wherever else, they're raising is about certain payloads that has to be put there. Now the payloads have to be tested, checked, made compatible, for which purpose those testings that we couldn't do in India were done in Australia. Now they were done in Australia at a time when that particular spectrum or those particular equipments were not available. The rest of the payload testing has been done in India itself. And there is nothing out of the ordinary. They are in a position to be used. Even when the attacks were taking place in Bombay, they were in a state of preparedness to be used in case they were necessary. But obviously that was not the kind of situation in which we were called upon to use them.
But why have these issues been raised by the CAG in the CAG audit?
Okay, now as far as CAG is concerned, you yourself have very categorically said that the CAG audit has been allowed. Nobody has directed us. The Prime Minister himself willingly and voluntarily has asked for a CAG audit. Now, we must not confuse CAG audits with an automatic finding of a scam. CAG audit can point out procedural and merit mistakes that could be made in the manner in which we handle our decisions, and this happens all the time. There are audit objections, and you have to set the audit objections right. You have to explain, and if you are able to explain when such an audit objection is raised, that is the end of the matter. But to assume that if the CAG audit, and that too in a draft form, finds something which they want an answer on, to assume that that has uncovered a scam or that has uncovered some unwholesome behavior, I think is not fair.